Go electric, ride smart, and experience the future of two-wheelers. Visit Quincy Motors Demtrang Shillong and make the switch to Ather today.
Unongiram kaliang percau Dr. Mukul sangma mentaka siu lawanra dakarai ban pan ya Jingmynjur nak yendor bar thawan ban pelong winter capital Tura. Aba wanra ya kini kamat mentaka siu hapo dorbar Dr. Mukul ulong po lawanra ya kini kamat kalong ke jingtmu ban wanra ya katong jo kinongiram ba menchwa banya sam ya ke jingmut ke jinglong ka wai kum ke jai ban riu ha ke jylla ka ba kentup ya ki garu Khasi Jaintia. Dr. Mukul kersanru ya ke jingle ke sorkar ban pelong ya ke kabinet ha keleng ki jaka kum jawai sora bat hikibi ki jaka par lada long lele kan pha ban pelong ya ke dor baru la kentu ya ke sorkar paken exmen ya ke ni kamat ka ba ulawanra ban pelong dorbar telang Tura par ban pelong dorbar hikibi pat ki jaka jong ke jylla ulong makani kamat ka ba ulawanra kamde ke jingle politics hende ke jingkwa jongi pait ba banya samlem ya ke jingsngau long kawai pan wanra ya kejingi it pat kejingi teli hapring ki jai penriu ha ke jylla.
Mr. Speaker, sir, at the very outset, I would like to thank you for enabling me to move this resolution from the bottom of my heart. So with your permission, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move this resolution. Whereas successive government of the state, since the inception of the state, have embarked upon number of developmental and policy initiatives to bring governance closer to the people of the state and usher the state into an era of progress and prosperity. And whereas the hopes and aspirations of the people of the western part of the state, comprising of the 5 districts of Garo Hills, generated the felt need of creation of winter capital at Tura for ensuring equitable and inclusive development of the region as a whole, which is in sync with the dreams and desires of our founder leaders of the state, with a shared objective of creating a sense of oneness among our 3 major tribes of the state. And whereas a number of civil society organizations of Garo Hills have collectively put their voice on behalf of the people of Garo Hills to urge upon the state government to give fruition to this demand of having winter capital at Tura. Now, therefore, this House to resolve to urge upon the government to examine the demand with sincerity, empathy for the establishment of winter capital at Tura.
Resolution moved. You may now initiate the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, this resolution, I have made a conscious decision to table this resolution for the consideration of this august House, keeping in mind the background which in a nutshell I have incorporated in my resolution itself and which is self-explanatory. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, successive governments after the inception of this beautiful state of ours have put their collective effort to bring us thus far. And as I grew up, I saw, even at the time of the statehood movement, I was a small kid then, but then these whole voices still echo in my ear. I can still remember the words that used to echo around in the distant part of the state, one of the most backward places then, at that point of time, empathy. Meghalaya will shine tonight. Meghalaya will shine tonight. All the young kids, and it became a part of, a song which used to echo everywhere. How the leaders of the state thought that collective endeavor with unity can enable them to overcome the challenge of having this beautiful statehood. And so those are the background. As we grew up, we saw that after the statehood movement ultimately paved the way to have this beautiful state, how the leaders used to engage in discussion. And those discussions again are carried forward through word of mouth. Now, that's why I have indicated here in the resolution itself that this particular objective to prevail upon all of us as the policymaker and the people who can actually give fruition to this collective desire of the people of that part of the western part of the state. I have said that this is in sync with the dreams and desires of founder leaders of the state, with a shared objective of creating a sense of oneness among our three major tribes of the state. I want to place on record and would like to revert these leaders and their wisdom, because their wisdom revolved around the power of unity and oneness, which was due to their unconditional love for our people who needed, separate statehood so that our people can be governed by our own people with their own genius. And there was that kind of environment amongst the leaders, because as I was growing up as a child, I could at least be party to the words that used to echo at the time of leaders sitting together and conversing. I think many of the citizens of the state who belong to our generation, my contemporaries and my seniors, will stand witness to this very shared desire and intent of our forefathers, the great leaders who paved the way to enable us to have this kind of discussion now in this August House. Yes, today we are here because of that far-sighted collective resolve to put their, whatever potentialities they have as leaders on behalf of our people. At that point of time, prior to statehood, I know how we can easily connect with the kind of livelihood that our people were subjected to. Poverty, hunger, starvation, and that's due to starvation. I have myself seen at the time of when I was still in my upper primary school, those days we used to call it middle school. Many of the traditional hats from different villages converging to my parents' house to write a report to the police stations about the death of people due to starvation. Those days were there. We have overcome those days. But why I'm trying to refer to this past is because unless these leaders would have come together, maybe we would have taken much more longer time to still overcome those kind of hardship and constraint. Today, we are fortunate that we don't hear about starvation anywhere. Of course, we have the challenges of nutritional deficiency, etc., etc. There are various other factors which contribute to that. But at least God has been kind to us. This beautiful land has enabled all our people to prosper and multiply. This is what God has promised, that you shall inherit the land of your parents and possess it, and you shall prosper and multiply. We have prospered and multiplied. We are prospering and multiplying. But this whole prosperity and this whole blessings that comes, obviously, is because of the core values of our people, core values of our forefathers, which we still would like to preserve and practice. The core values which revolves around the sense of oneness, compassion, love as brethren, despite belonging to different major tribes. It must be only pertinent for me to remind ourselves, if Garos would have fought separately for statehood, would it have been possible for us to prevail? If only Khasi tribe would have fought for statehood, would have been possible for us to prevail? So I think that connect of the past gives us an insight into how the power of, that coming together out of love, compassion to our own people together have enabled us to achieve this statehood. And today, I would like to also place on record my deep sense of appreciation and my gratitude and gratefulness to all the leaders after the statehood, how each of the successive governments have contributed to position us today. Today, Meghalaya is talked about. Meghalaya has been able to brand itself as one of the most potential states to be a model state in the whole country. I remember when I went to meet our Congress chairperson after assuming the office of Chief Minister. Two things which reminded me after I assumed office repeatedly and based on which I communicated to her without even meeting, only through letters, was that, Mukul, Meghalaya is such a beautiful state. The potentiality of your people and the state is something beyond compare. And I have faith in you, Mukul. Do whatever you can and position your state as a model state. Then she reminded me, I am not saying that you shall position your state as a model state only for the northeastern region. Position your state as the model state in the whole country. So this is the kind of perception that people, the leaders of this country has about Meghalaya. We have the potentiality. Our people have the potentiality. And we must believe, and we believe. That's why we are here. Because we want to give fruition to their desires, their dreams. And I think collectively we can do it. Therefore, the spirit of oneness, that whole issue of love and compassion and being good to your neighbor, because I reminded the House yesterday about what is written in Scripture. Because it says, owe nothing to anybody except to love one another. Because one who has learned to love one another has fulfilled the law. It's a state where most of us are faithful and fear God. And based on that spirit and our core values, which is again deeply connected with our faith, today we are doing what we are doing. But there are many more things that we need to do. Therefore, if our brethren are reminding us of this shared desire, the collective desire of the people of the western part of the state, I think it is only appropriate and fit for us to urge the government to examine this particular desire of the people. Therefore, I would like to also, I think, place on record my sense of appreciation for at least the Honorable Chief Minister who agreed to meet those people who were spearheading this particular demand on behalf of the people of the state of Meghalaya. Though it didn't end the way it should have. I sincerely wish that it should have been, means the end to that meeting and discussion in Tura should have ended in a different positive environment, but it did not happen. Rather, somehow or other, I think we went out of our way to create a situation which ultimately generated a sense of doubt about the willingness of leaders who belong to this current dispensation, both ruling and opposition, that we weren't willing to listen nor willing to discuss. And therefore you create a fear psychosis. Eventually, after much of that incident, we all know which shouldn't have happened. I have elaborately articulated that concern in the preceding session in the August House. Because somehow or other, the district administration went out of the way to even book our boys and girls, the youth, under laws which are applied for terrorists. Therefore, I think there is some kind of doubt on us, on our sincerity, on our intent by the people of Garo Hills. I have heard the whole narrative which is echoing in that part of the state. Therefore, as parents, when we look at the demand of our children, if one of the sons tend to feel that the parents are completely indifferent and insensitive and not willing to even listen, we know what happens. The delinquency, the frustration, the rebellion, that is how it starts. Any hope, which any decision, any milestone that we achieve, which generates hope. Hope, if that hope cannot be fulfilled, then what comes? Frustration. After frustration, anger. After anger, rebellion, then chaos. Therefore, it is always important for us to remember the past, reconnect with the past, how we have gone through those turbulent times, how we have not been able to really deal with the whole frustration, anger, rebellion in the state. Today, we have been able to overcome that challenge, that problem. Our youth who were otherwise, for whatever reasons, misguided or otherwise, however we refer to them, they decided to come back. All of them came back. It was only a different issue that the then so-called commander-in-chief of GNLA did not agree to come back because of other reasons. But peace has been restored. I remember that time when elections were on, when we were confronted by an incident where one of the candidates has to lose his life. Subsequently, when I was campaigning, I was advised by my security advisors and the department concerned, sir, you may cancel your programs during election. That was the kind of situation in the western part. Today, we have overcome that. Today, there is a peaceful environment. That's why people are coming to invest. That's why Meghalaya is being seen as, yes, it's the place which should be taken as the most favored destination. And therefore, it is very important for us to sustain the peace which we have achieved with great difficulty. I'm sure the Honorable Chief Minister and also the Deputy Chief Minister who looks after home knows what is happening. We have concern, and I would urge upon CM to call also the State Security Commission meeting immediately. Things are not good. Frustration, anger, rebellion is not something which augur well for the state. Therefore, there are children. All these people who have put their voice collectively are definitely only articulating their aspirations, their dreams. And therefore, let us, with empathy and utmost sense of sincerity, to fulfill our role as parents, as leaders, as demonstrated by our revered leaders of the past. Let us all come together and urge the government through this resolution that we adopt this resolution today to urge the government to examine the demand with sincerity, empathy for the establishment of winter capital at Tura and give fruition to this shared desire, the collective desire of the people. And discussion, as we embark upon, discussion cannot be something which can be just completed overnight. It will have its own courses of discussions. I think a number of times whenever we had to discuss on issues concerning people, even discussing pertaining to the aspirations, the collective aspirations of the people, we have taken time. There is no shortcut. We may take time, but the intent of us to engage and discuss on this issue must be demonstrated by us with utmost sense of sincerity and commitment, not lip service. Let it come from our heart. And I also shared this view earlier when I was privileged to be the leader of this August House, that we can, I appreciate the government. The CM has had a number of cabinet meetings outside Shillong, outside the state capital. That is something which demonstrates, yes, we would like to, even though our state is so small, but we know how the state is. You know, the aspirational issues are always there. So going to Jaintia Hills, going to Tura to have cabinet meetings, going to Tura and having cabinet meetings, we must appreciate it. Yes, it sends message. It has a powerful message. Similarly, I subscribe to the idea prior to 2018 that we should have even assembly session in Joy. We should have assembly session in Tura. When we tried to do this, of course, you know, there were so many other associated burden which comes along with that proposal. But then it is doable. 2 days session in Tura or 3 days session in Tura, 2 days session in 3 days session in Joy, or some other day session even in Nongstoin. So some of my friends say, sir, where will we have infrastructure? So I said, we are giving money to district council, more than 100 crore. Let the district council look at, constructing a beautiful new chamber for them. I expected, we gave huge amount of money. And I suggested to them also, look at that place, talk to the clan, where the people have been so generous and with their utmost concern for getting development, agreed to give that 100 acres of land for medical college, that 300 acres in Doldigri. Now this constituency has become the constituency of one of our newly elected leader, a woman leader from Gambigri. And lots of infrastructure is taking place there. So I told them, get some land. The district council chamber in Hawakhana is in the midst of a very crowded place. Create some natural expansion, like what we are doing in Shillong, taking the assembly building to new township, giving 80 acres of land, and then allow a natural expansion of the city. But of course, they decided it otherwise. They spend the money for other. But then we can always look at, even with existing infrastructures. Joy has district council to accommodate 60 of us. If we can have this assembly prior to having our permanent assembly building in this auditorium, which was not designed for hosting an assembly session, we can always find a way. Where there's a will, there is a way. So I think even as I propose this House to resolve to adopt this resolution, my submission before the August House is that may the government look at this proposal also, start having assembly sessions in different parts of the state, at least a short session. It is not impossible, it is not too difficult. I have examined it during our time. The only thing is that we could not do it, so the desire and wish may be shared by all of us. Maybe the Chief Minister is already having it in his mind, I never know. But then I think sometimes we think together, we think same thing sometimes. So I would like to again remind us, the privileged members of this August House. Many of us are witness to this conversation. The conversation of the shared desire of our forefathers, our revered leaders of the past. So I would not like to lengthen my submission because the intent is very clear. The voice has echoed from there, and this is not a voice, I think it is not something which is politicized. It is only, a voice which represents, the whole collective desire, because this whole conversation has been doing the round and round and round, and ultimately it emanated as a voice representing the people. So with these few words, may I, therefore, seek the support of all our distinguished, illustrious members of this august house. Our forefathers, our revered leader of the past have demonstrated their resolve to come together and take very tough decisions and overcome challenges. And that's how they have glued us together with the power of love to have this sense of spirit of sense of oneness, where the sense of brotherhood and love prevails. And we must, as leaders, really look at this very powerful weapon, the weapon of love, to unite our people together. And for it is written, for love doesn't harm the neighbor. The love doesn't do any harm to the neighbor. That's why love is the fulfillment of it. And it is nothing but this power of law, the power of love, which has brought us here in this august house. We love our people. That's why we want to serve our people. That's why all the distinguished 60 members are here. People may say many things about politicians. People think that we are the only people who are not good. We don't belong to the so-called good class, honest class. You see in electronic media, you see anywhere, people are prompt to actually jump to conclusion and comment on politicians, as though what good things have not happened because of the politician. Any good thing that has happened in the state, any good thing that has happened in the country is because of the politicians, because of the policymakers. The law that has been made are by the lawmakers, because all the law is an offshoot of the commandment of God. So have we not fulfilled our purpose? Yes. It is the politicians who have brought our people thus far. It is the politicians and policymakers who are responsible to see that our people don't starve anymore, but are in this era where we share the same dream like people in West. You look at us, dress up like Western people. That day I saw when the president of Ukraine went to America, one of the reporter media confronted him about the dress even. So, so whatever it is, I think speaks volumes. These are something which should enable us to really convince ourselves that God has been kind to us and have blessed us. Let our people prosper and multiply in this state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. With these few words, I urge upon all our friends, our colleagues in this august house, to be pleased to agree to this resolution and resolve unanimously to adopt this resolution. I heard that the honorable member from Rongjeng, my neighbor, his people and my people from the respective constituencies go to the same market, go to the same hospital, go to the same school. If the teachers are there, good teachers, they share the benefit of coming out with flying colors. One very good school is there in Rongjeng. All my children from my area also go there. So, these are all interconnected. So I think I have made my point. All my distinguished friends and colleagues of this august house, may God bless you with wisdom and knowledge. And may we all not lean on our own understanding, but lean on the wisdom of God.